484 commanders came out in 2025, but we're only interested in the 10 most hated of the year.
I'm Mia, and Amber's getting up right now.
I'm BZ. She's getting pretty excited. We're the Nitpicking Nerds because we're sponsored by Card Kingdom. Amber loves going to Card Kingdom with her little paws and saving time, saving money through the process, getting it all in one package, having it delivered in a clean, friendly way. Amber loves it, and you also will.
You should use our link in the description below to get Amber a Christmas gift on Card Kingdom. We're also sponsored by Dragon Shield, best sleeves in the multiverse.
Good sleeves.
If you use the code
Nerds.
At checkout, you could save 5% of your Roman tax dollars on your entire order, which is great around the holidays because there are so many sleeve colors to choose from.
Get Amber a pack of sleeves and then don't actually give them to her because she doesn't deserve them, but you can give them for yourself and then feel really great about it. If you really want to get Amber a present directly, go to our Patreon, because every time we get a new patron, we give Amber a treat, or Miso, depending, but this time it'll be Amber.
And today we're sponsored by Nerd Gear. Their tokens, which we love so much, are 25% off right now.
Yes, click the link in our description to go access all of the different sales they have going on, but their tokens are phenomenal. When you wash them, they do not get soggy because they are hard and awesome. So we're going over the most hated, the saltiest commanders that came out in 2025. The only rule is that they have to be a commander, and they have to have been originally printed this year. We did a poll across all of our Discords and the YouTube community, so everyone has contributed. However, we want to contribute first. So our honorable mentions are just going to be commanders that make us specifically salty and are not on the top 10 list.
I think it's kind of crazy because with almost 500 commanders being released this year, I feel like the salt factor was kind of low across all of them. A lot of them were very reasonable, unlike last year when MH3 came out and we had bombs like Nadu and just like commanders left and right.
A little bit less hatred for sure, but there's still some that are making people pretty upset. I think we'll start with a little bit of a disclaimer that we're not saying that playing these commanders makes you a bad person or anything. These are just commanders that make people salty. I think everyone uses the word salt to mean like, yeah, you might get a little frustrated, but ultimately you're still going to sit down and play the game. It's not like, oh my God, you're a bad person. And really, there's no commander I won't play against. But these ones, I think, for this one, for me, my honorable mention is the least interesting commander of the year. It's the Wandering Minstrel. I know most people probably weren't expecting me to say this because I don't think I've ever mentioned this card on the channel. It's blue-green for a 1/3. It says lands you control enter untapped at the beginning of combat on your turn. If you have 5 or more towns, you get a 2/2 elemental. Pay 1,000 mana. Creatures you control get +X/+X. Where X is the number of towns you control. So it's like the 5-color towns commander. But to me, this is probably the most boring, uninspired commander that came out. And I think the play patterns with this card are extremely paint by numbers, extremely boring. Half the deck is just taking advantage of the first line of text. Sure, you play the towns, but you probably also play the gate package. And I find the gate package, especially when they all enter untapped, to be closer to like a combo kill and really not something that I'm enjoying. I'm going to target the gates player because I know you're going to play Reshape the Earth with the Wandering Minstrel, and then you literally just win the game on the spot. So like, I don't have patience for that. I'm going to go after you super hard. I think this commander is boring.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm not a big fan of the gates package to begin with. And with this year, with more shrines and more shrine commanders coming out, just as a little off topic, I'm happy that we don't have to see shrines and gates all in the same one. We have him for the gates one, and I can go, oh, you're playing Maze's End, aren't you?
Right, like which kind are you? Are you the Splendid Reclamation, all your lands back, or are you the Reshape the Earth, win the game? Either way, I'm kind of mentally checked out a little bit.
For my dishonorable mention, I want to talk about Terra, Magical Adept, which enters you mill 3, you put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand, pay 4 red, green, tap her, exile her, bring her back, only at sorcery speed. She has so many words. She's also a 4/2. On the back, she's a 6/6 with flying, with 1, 2, and 3 modes saying, create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control, gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it, and then you sack it at the beginning of your next end step. 4, add white, white, blue, blue, green, green, red, red, and black, black. There we go. Sorry, I said read them out of order. And you exile it, and she comes back face up. I feel like this is not a bad commander. I feel like it was very overpushed because of all the words on it, because it's like the new hot Wooburg thing. But I also feel like a lot of Terra decks look very similar because there are not enough good enchantments and lore and like sagas to make these decks very unique. It's like, okay, do I want to play all of the good ones, or do I want to play all the bad ones and have my deck not do much?
Yeah, it's like there's 15 passable sagas. You're playing all of them. I think this is another Wooburg design, and I don't think that's an accident. I think some of the Wooburg commanders are just, they feel like obligatory, like, oh, we have to print 12 Wooburg commanders a year so players have stuff to choose from. No, you don't. I don't find them to be that interesting. This feels like, you're very much playing 5-color good stuff, 5-color enchantments. Like, I don't find this to be very inspiring either. So pretty good pick. Also forgot we were calling them dishonorable mentions. So sorry, Wandering Minstrel, you deserve dishonor. But now we're jumping in. This is the community voted 10 most hated commanders of the year. We're going to comment on why they're so miserable, what people have problems with, and maybe if we agree or disagree. So why don't you tackle the first one, number 10?
Number 10, this is Ketramos the New Dawn. 1 white black for a 4/4 menace, lifelink, indestructible. Can't attack or block unless there are 7 or more cards in exile. Whenever 1 or more cards are put into exile from graveyards and or the battlefield during your turn, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't think that this is that bad. We played against it with Cam and Dylan from Play to Win.
True.
And I thought it was a solid commander, but it's not like some of the other ones where they just reward you for playing the game. Like, I feel like you need, like strategy going into this. You need a little bit of thought. You need your game plan to be working.
I'll give the community some credit here because I kind of forgot this card was printed. 2025 has been a long year for many reasons, especially Magic-wise. But, like, I think this card's a little obnoxious when it gets going. Like, the indestructibility makes it kind of hard to take off the board. Who cares if it's attacking or blocking? Like, doesn't really matter. And then it's like all of these single target exiles like Relic and Relic Virginitas and other little tiny things like Timoret, it's just like draw card, draw card, draw card, draw card. It definitely slows the game down a little, even if it's still beatable. Ketramos is doing a little too much for me.
I mean, I do think that the ability is very good, but would you say that with any like mid-plus tier ability that would just happen to also be on like an indestructible body for cheap? Like,
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
It depends on the ability. Drawing a bunch of cards and doing a little Necropotence impression just because you put every card that says nuke a graveyard in your deck, that's also like, I think maybe that is where this deck is sort of getting extra hate, is because every graveyard player who has to play against this, it's like they pre-sideboarded against you, and now you just can't do anything.
Easy. I feel like maybe this is just a personal
No.
hatred. Maybe you're just like, I hate that they're playing Bajuka Bog.
I see where they're coming
I don't
from.
like that they're playing Swords.
I see where they're coming from with Ketramos. We're going to move on to number 9, certainly the recency bias slot on this list. It's Firelord Azula. 1 blue, black, red for a 4/4 with firebending 2. So you make 2 red when it attacks. And whenever you cast a spell while she's attacking, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. Firelord Azula has been the number 1, not even close, most built Avatar commander, so I do understand everyone's playing against it because all their friends are building it. There's probably, remember when like Atraxa came out?
Yeah.
There was like 1 Atraxa in every pod. This is probably like 1 Firelord Azula in every other pod. And we've played against this now. I definitely understand why you might feel like when Firelord Azula attacks once, the game is over. It does a lot of things. It basically storms off just by attacking with no setup.
Firelord Azula is in the colors to be doing like instants. It's in the colors to be countering your stuff.
Drawing cards.
Doing it. It's in the place where you're able to take advantage of that firebending and those copies. It was very good when Spec played it against us in Deckmasters, and I think it's a really solid card. I think that it earned its spot, even though it is more of a recent one, though I am happy it's lower on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I think there were more votes for recent stuff. There were less votes for Kestramos because it's like, what? What was that? Ketramos was the hotness back when it was seen playing Modern. If everyone was talking about it in like every format, and now it's like who? But yeah, Firelord is fresh in everyone's mind. Definitely a storm off, and this is one of those commanders where there's a lot of categories like that. Where if you see that they're playing Firelord Azula, it's a little awkward. But ultimately, you just have to kill it and make it so that player can't play the game or can't get their game plan going. Because if you do, you lose. It's not like, all right, let them get their licks in and then I'll go after them. It's like you just have to kill it or you die.
Firelord Azula reminds me of old school Commander where it's like all or nothing on the Commander. If this sticks, you're hurting, you're dead. Like the Kalias of the world.
Narset. Yeah, Narset Kalia, like that
yeah,
level.
like this feels like old school vibes. I'm
totally
happy
does.
that it's bringing it back because this is the deck where you're pretty much like, okay, maybe I should play Lightning Greaves in here.
Do I want Lightning Greaves? Yeah, that's so funny that it's exactly like those 2 old cards. And it's also funny that Foil Armor is going to fix when you order your Firelord Azula from Card Kingdom and you go, wow, great deal. It comes in, oh no, foils curl over time. Maybe in the mail it got curled because of the temperature or the moisture or whatever. Foil Armor fixes it because they have the exact humidity, moisture level to even out your cards and flatten them without you having to do something with a sledgehammer to them.
Foil Armor is so wonderful. I love putting it in my deck box, forgetting about it, and then waking up the next day or next week, and my cards are all straight. Go get Foil Armor and put it in your deck boxes.
And you go get number 8.
Number 8, this is Hearthhole, the World Seed. 1 red, black, green for a 6/7 that says Station 2+. If you pay 1, tap and sack a land, you draw 2 cards. You can play an additional land this turn. If you station 8 or more, flying, vigilance, haste, whenever you sack a land, each opponent loses 2 life. This is weird because when they started doing station, these are not creatures to begin with. You have to put in the work for them, which is cool because they get around a lot of that creature type removal until you're ready for it to be a creature. That 2 ability is so good and it is so easy to get.
Yeah, that is the part that makes this really annoying because you're fueling the game plan. The deck wants to have a bunch of lands in the graveyard. I mentioned with Wandering Minstrel that you want to Aftermath Analyst and Splendid Wreck. Well, here's the deck that's 10 times better at that. Better at filling the graveyard. It's super, super, really annoying. Tough to interact with. It's like that Ketramos where it only dies to like half of removal. Creature stuff, war wipes, probably don't hit it. Some artifact stuff opens up, but it's definitely, I would say, a little stickier than your average commander. It has an annoying card draw ability, so they're always going to be gassed up on cards. And I think that last ability kind of, when you start looping and sacking all your lands to reanimate all your lands and doing get rog stuff, that's going to be like memorable, a little frustrating to play against, but powerful because it's hard to interact with all of that stuff. Lands, I have to like exile your lands, I have to exile your graveyard. That's a little bit more doable, but then you're just sacrificing and you're not even attacking, you're just doing direct damage.
As we mentioned when this first came out, I'm so happy that they're toying into land destruction
Yeah.
in a more manageable way with Planetary Annihilation. And putting this in a precon was like a spicy move. I'm very, very happy that this was one of the ones from Edge of Eternities. It made things so much more interesting. But the question remains, do you think it would be this high on the list if it wasn't a precon commander? You think more people would be like...
It's certainly out there.
Yeah.
And this was a really strong precon. I think maybe that lent some of it too, because when people are just playing bracket 2 or precon battles, this deck's probably crushing some of the old precons. This is a really good deck.
And it's probably easy to pick up too because it was really cheap at the time. It had really good reprints.
We were recommending it.
Yeah, it had Gitrog in it. It had... Did this have Corvold in it too? I think it had Corvold.
It might have. It had a lot.
It had a lot of juicy stuff. It was really cheap, which means a lot of people got their hands on it. And then I feel like that also just contributed to how resilient this deck is and just people seeing it a lot where it was just like, oh, I can't really take you down because like land destruction is like not nice, and people have kind of like not let themselves play it as much. And I mean that's good. We don't want everyone to be doing Armageddon, but also like in a tasteful way. 6 lands, I think that's okay.
Urza Silex, Planetary Annihilation, Disciple of Kalis Nin are all sort of in that wheelhouse. But yeah, Hearthell, pretty strong edge card. Next up, our second entry from Aether Drift. If it wasn't for the community, I wouldn't have remembered this one either. But Hashaton, Scarab's Fist, was like the #1 poster child for I hate this card for months after Aether Drift came out. It is white-black for a 1/3, and whenever you discard a creature card, you can pay 2 and a blue, and if you do that, you get a token that's a copy, except it's a 4/4 black zombie. This card made me fall out of love with Frantic Surge for a few months.
Yeah.
Because that was the biggest groan test ever. Turn 3, Frantic Surge, discard your 2 best things, and then get your best thing right away, like Hullbreaker Horror or something.
Dude, I played this when it first came out.
Sure did.
I just built it immediately. Aether Drift was fun, I think, because I had Mendicant Core and Hash from it.
Yeah, you went off with that stuff.
And even though Aether Drift was not a much loved set by most other people, Hash was spicy. It was wrecking stuff in CEDH because people were just discarding Thoracle and not casting it so people couldn't counter it. It was messing stuff up in casual. I was playing this in a very spicy, bracket 4, and there was all the free spells. Getting all of the cards. Frantic Search, as you mentioned, was
3
so
mana
good.
Razaketh.
It was crazy. And the fact that it came down, it went like, okay, 1, you do your Esper Sentinel or whatever, or your Soul Ring. 2, you get this down. There was some games where I had Soul Ring a few lands out, and then Frantic Surge into 2 things on turn 3. This deck was nuts.
Yeah, deck goes off. It's super annoying. Hashton's really easy to recast. So even if you kill it, they go, okay, you sent me back, but turn 3, I'll just play it again with my Signet. And now we're back to the same thing. Late game, maybe you reanimate the Hashaton, because this is a reanimator deck core, and you can just play all the reanimate spells. So even if Hashaton dies, you still have that backup of okay, 2 mana Razaketh. I know you stopped my token thing, but it's still going to happen.
It's absolutely crazy, too, because I thought that when you did this, if you discard a card, you may exile it. If you do, you create it. I feel like that line would have been where people stopped groaning. But instead, you're just like, okay, no, put in the graveyard and I'll get a token. And then I'll also play Reanimate, lose 8 life, and then get a second copy of it.
This card spiked Tortured Existence for that reason. You just keep
Yes.
looping the same things, and sometimes you can go infinite with it. Very annoying. Definitely deserves to be on this list. Number 6 was a bit of a underdog, a surprise entry, but I do see where people are coming from. Number 6 is Ureni of the Unwritten from the Tarkir Dragonstorm precons. 4 red, blue, green for a 7/7 Flampler. When it enters or attacks, look at the top 8 cards of your library. You can put a dragon from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. People were saying this was a little bit more uninspired, and it felt more like a dragon plant. People are saying this is as good as Miram. People are having a very bad time with Ureni because it is so much mana value that just goes into play. And if you give it haste, it's actually obscene.
Yeah, but you're also paying a lot of mana into this. I mean, dragons just by nature are big mana decks. You know, you're not casting this on turn 1 or 2.
No.
I think this deck, it is a good dragon card. I don't think I'd be like super salty about it because you're paying 7 mana for this. Sure. I would hate if it said 7 mana 7/7 Flampler. You gotta wait till it attacks though. That would suck. But I think it's fair for what it does, though. If you can't stop them quickly, especially since they are in the colors for counter spells, you might have a hard time getting under it or just removing it in time.
Yeah, I get where people are coming from too on this. I also think this actually reminds me a lot of Maelstrom Wanderer, and I don't very much love playing against Maelstrom Wanderer because it's assuming you give it haste. That's kind of what the deck's wanting to do. So the deck will presumably give it haste when it attacks. So it's like, boom, boom, here's 2 dragons right away. One of them, if it has haste, will also be attacking this turn. I think it gets real silly. And you can easily imagine a scenario where they have 21 mana value worth of dragons just out of nowhere for like no investment.
Oh, absolutely. And having this in your command zone where you just go ramp, ramp, ramp. All right, well, I'm going to get a dragon somewhere.
Very Maelstrom Wandery. We're moving now into our top 5 saltiest commanders. Get ready for a little bit of a streak. You'll see what we mean very soon.
Okay, this one, I feel like you have more say in because you actually played this in one of our gameplay videos. It's Y'shtola, Knight's Blessed. 1 white, black, blue for a 2/4 with vigilance. At the beginning of each end step, if a player, including you, lost 4 more life this turn, you draw a card. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell with mana value 3 or greater, it deals 2 damage to each opponent and you gain 2 life. Note that also counts spells that are free but have a CMC of 3 or greater.
I don't know if this card would even make my list if I had to make my own personal top 10.
Is it because people kept targeting you?
It just feels a little overrated. People were saying that even the base level precon, they couldn't stand it. They couldn't, like, no one else could beat it.
Really?
And I just didn't feel that at all when I was playing it. It felt so clunky. Every creature just felt like it was a waste of time, and every spell I couldn't trigger this thing more than once a turn. I was always the player losing life to draw off of it, which kind of makes sense. You're gonna get hit with this because it is a life gain engine. It's a really good card. Don't get me wrong, and I bet the souped up bracket 4 version of this is a nightmare because
absolutely.
Every free spell ever, Force of Will, maybe Mind Break Trap, I don't know, Foil even, just because things that cost 4 like Snuff Out, Lethal Scheme, I can imagine that getting a little taxing, but that feels more like, hey, free spells are really annoying than like, oh my god, Y'shtola specifically is killing me.
Yeah, Y'shtola, I feel like in the pre-con, it was just split between 2 themes, so it really didn't get the chance to shine. But when we have things that are cheap spells, like Foil, like Misdirection, like, like the Lethal Schemes of the world, where you can cast them for free, not spend a ton of money, and upgrade your pre-con at a reasonable level, then you are getting spicy. Also, I know you just mentioned 4 or greater. This is actually 3 or greater. Just FYI.
Oh my god, yeah.
So like Force of Negation and stuff.
So lumping Fierce Guardianship and that kind of thing. So yeah, I will say that's a little more annoying than what I said, but I'm kind of still on the same. like free spells are annoying. This is a good commander with free spells, but I think it's maybe in my universe it'd be like number 10.
Would it be number 10? I'm not sure. I mean, okay. I've only played against it when you unwrapped the precon, so maybe I have a more biased view on it than the average person. As a precon commander, I think it's fair, but it will get targeted. As a bracket 4, which I have yet to see live yet, I could see how it's up here, but I think it would be lower on the list. I feel like Hash was definitely a little spicier up on this list than Y'shtola for me.
Yeah, you know what? I will give the voters more credit too, because it's not like yeah, free spells are really annoying, but a commander that encourages you to play all of them definitely brings a higher percentage to the table. So Y'shtola, you're pretty annoying, but the precon, I will defend the precon was pretty bad.
Yeah, I think it was just split too much because it was like all these, you said you want non-creature spells, and yet there were a bunch of creatures jam-packed into it. And of course we need creatures to survive in Commander, especially at the bracket 2 level. But I felt like there was just such an excess where you weren't triggering it that much because of those excess creatures.
It wasn't even just this precon. Every Final Fantasy precon had the problem of we have to fit X characters into this set, and we only have so many releases between standard and the precons. So here's 30 legends in every precon. It's like, that's cool and flavorful, but doesn't make the deck very good.
But up next, we have number 4. This is another Final Fantasy commander, and I feel like it's one of the first ones that I thought of when I started thinking about saltiest commanders this year. Who is it?
I have not experienced this one way or the other, but it's Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier. 2 and a black for a 3/3. When he enters or attacks, you can sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card that is pushed text. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1, and you gain 1 life. If this is the 4th time this ability has resolved, transform Sephiroth into Sephiroth one winged angel. It's a 5/5 flyer, and as it transforms, you get an emblem with the Blood Artist text. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses one, and you gain one. And whenever he attacks, you can sacrifice any number of other creatures. And if you do, draw that many cards. There's just a lot going on here. There's no doubt in my mind this is an extremely powerful Magic card. I think where the salt is coming from is probably mostly the emblem. I think it's probably a little frustrating when you can't interact on certain axes. I think emblems are really cool, and I kind of wish we had more, as long as they're really hard to do. This one might be on the easier side, though. It's not that hard to sack your blood gas twice and 2 spirit tokens or something.
This is so easy to do, and having it in your command zone means that so long as you play it on turn 3 and turn 4, you play one of the 3 mana things that say, when this enters, everyone has to sack a creature.
Just like
you
Fleshback
flip it
Marauder.
immediately, and you have that emblem for the rest of the game. It dies, you bring it back. Can't you get it again, too? Can't you keep getting it?
Oh, yeah. You can sack Sephiroth, bring him back, and then just make sure 4 things die. So, like, a Curse Marauder, Fleshbag, make it, like, pretty trivial. Like, what are your opponents going to do? Not play creatures? Yeah, Sephiroth's a target for removal, but he draws a card when he enters, and you're black, so you could kind of think about more recursion, or, like, even Unearth might be good in this deck.
Yeah, no, I completely understand where the salt is coming from. This is one of the better cards in my decks. I think I have this in Shadow. It's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
But having it in your command zone and having the entire deck built around having it come back, bringing it around, flipping it, bringing it again.
2 emblems.
Oh no, it comes back tapped.
3 emblems.
Yeah, like I think that it is so hard to interact with those emblems and getting them that you would just have to counter the ability, that's just so tough because so many removal spells are not doing that I think that this is just one of those decks that's just really hard to interact with.
Yeah, the cards that do that are bad, and even if you do that to Sephiroth, it's not like they lose the game. They now have a 5/5 flyer that can sack creatures to draw a bunch of cards, and if you kill it, it's just going to come back on the problematic side. So you almost want to imprison in the moon this or something, just like lock it down. You can't even do like Kenra's transformation because they'll just sack it. You got to turn it into something else, turn it into a forest, get it off the field, because while I do like emblems, 4 creatures? Really? Why not? Like, if this was 8, it'd probably still be good.
Yeah, I think there's just too many engines in Commander where it's like Flare of Malice, or we have, the Accursed Marauders, or even the more expensive ones, Merciless Executioner
Like
stuff.
Soul Shatter and a sack. You know?
There are just so many ways to be able to hit that 4 creature ability, because he gives you one to begin with, too. And when he enters or attacks, you could just get that and then play a Soul Shatter or anything like that. There's your 4, and then keep doing it. When your deck is built around this, it gets obnoxious so quickly.
Silly Magic card.
Number 3, yet another Final Fantasy one, but it earns its spot on this list. It's Kefka, Court Mage, 2 blue, red, black for a 4/5. Whenever he enters or attacks, each player discards a card. Then you draw a card for each card types among cards discarded this way. If you pay 8, each opponent sacks a permanent of their choice. Then you transform him, but you're not probably going to be doing that often. On the back, he's Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, 5/7 flying. Whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, you draw that many cards. Kefka is Grixis. I know you have eyes. I know you can see that. Grixis, I feel like, becomes some of the most unoriginal slop sometimes.
They get the meanest cards.
Yeah, and this is one of the meaner ones. I think it would be cool if you could transform it, and if you're building your deck around transforming and stuff, that's really cool. But most times you're just going to be flickering Kefka, and you're just going to be having everyone discard their cards. You're going to be playing your waste knots. You're going to be drawing. It is just an engine, and you're going to shred everyone's hands. It's going to be very mean, and it is earning its spot in the top 3.
Yeah, because every 1 mana flicker or 1 mana Malika Rebirth thing you use on this that re-triggers it, Kefka never draws less than 2 cards from his ability. So you're just incentivized to just keep doing that. Every time you do it, you're going to draw into more. And if you do it 3 times, your opponents don't really have a hand. They can't really formulate a game plan. And then you can just coast because you now have 8 cards and you can do whatever you want. And you'll flicker it later when it's good. You can even flicker it at instant speed on somebody's draw step if you really want to. This, to me, do you know what card this reminds me of?
What?
Turgrid.
Yeah.
Because you're you read the front side and then they're but wait, there's a back side. And you're what? Oh, cool. I can pay 4 to make somebody lose 3 life?
Do you guys like that lantern?
This is why would I draw 100 cards on the backside? I have to pay 8 mana for that. I'll just draw 100 cards on the front side. It's flavor text.
Yeah, if you want to build a Kefka deck and it's very flavorful and you're basing it on Final Fantasy or something, I think it could be cool. If you're building it the sweaty bracket 4 or 5 version, if there even is a bracket 5 version, that gets dicey very quickly, and I feel like your opponents are going to target you. I feel like also, when it doesn't read as bad as it is when you're playing against it.
Yeah, it's okay, well, I discard my worst card. oh wait, you have Waste Not. Oh wait, you have all this other thing. It's like
And then you draw a ton.
also kind of the same play patterns as Turgid. They're probably playing all those discard punishers and like Geth's Grimoire. Like, okay,
Liliana's Caress.
yeah, cool. I guess here we are again. Kefka's attacking. Okay.
I mean, is it just me? But I feel like Grixis commanders have a hard time doing something. Like, this wants you to draw and discard, which, by the way, I would love to do in most of my decks. Drawing cards is very nice. Making everyone like have an adverse effect is also very nice. But I feel like they have a hard time like stapling together a game plan. Mine is like, I'm doing something that you'd probably like in a lot of your decks. You lose. And I wish they would just break that. I want a Grixis commander. I wish it didn't have to be, okay, put stuff in the graveyard and make you guys sad.
You know what? This isn't even power related or Kefka related, but every big bad doesn't have to be Grixis. I'm kind of just getting like Firelord Azula, the Sauron, Kefka. Like, I feel like they're just all Grixis. And
I mean, is that not a flavor thing though? Because Nicol Bolas is the big bad of Grixis.
Norman Osborn. It's like, I get it. The big bad of your IP is Grixis.
Give me the Abzan big bad.
Kind of. I mean, it starts to just blend together for me. So maybe we could move some of this design space over. But like you said, these two halves, maybe this is what's a little frustrating for people. They don't blend together. Why would I ever flip it? Why would I ever flip this card? It draws way more cards on the front side.
Yeah, no, and I think that it's just so much work to be able to get to that backside too. If it was like Spider-Man, where you can cast either or, I think it would be a little more interesting, and maybe more people would try and play that backside.
It might still just spam the front side.
No, they
I don't
probably
know.
would, but I feel like it's easier to get jankier or more fun ways to build Kefka rather than, okay, I always have to play the front side. I always have to have everyone discard. I always have to, go through the rigmarole to get to that backside.
Also reminds me of Nicol Bolas the Ravager, one of the hottest commanders for the longest time.
Yeah,
I played against that
Nicol
thing.
Bolas.
I played against that thing so much, and it's like, whoa, Nicol Bolas. That's a really cool front side. What's the backside do? It's like, you'll never find out. I'm just gonna flicker for the stupid discard a card. Like, what a weird play pattern. I'm not a fan of that.
We've been talking a lot about these decks on Deckmasters, but if you want to see the list of them, you should check out our moxfield.com. Check
really
out our
good.
profile, because all of the decks that we've ever played, that our guests have ever played, and then all the decks that we've all retired too, that sometimes you hear us talk about, are all on Moxfield.
Yeah, Will Swan from Dance Gavin Dance was on a couple episodes, and one of them he played his Kefka deck, and it was a little bit less miserable. We were going all out in that episode anyway. That was like high brackets, but it was more like, oh, Final Fantasy cards and like Laughing Mads in there because it got Kefka on it. Like, that was pretty cool. Number 2, rounding off our 4 commander streak, Vivi or Nidir. 1 blue-red for a 0/3. Probably should have learned how to say that at some point. 0. Add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is Vivi's power. Activate only during your turn and only once each turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Vivi, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Undeniably a very strong magic card. They took off the thing that people hate about this card is they took off one of the safety valves of these things where like this card in any other world would tap to make the mana, so you'd have to give it haste or jump through a hoop or something. But this would just says 0, and I think they were trying out something. And I have nowhere else to say this. So personally, I think Agatha's Soul Cauldron was the dumb card in the Vivi Soul Cauldron combo. But yeah, Vivi is a big powerhouse. You're gonna make it really big. And you're going to make like 6 mana, and then you're going to kind of spell sling from there. This very strong spell slinger commander.
Why didn't we have any sort of restriction? I get like maybe you just wanted to try tapping. Why'd you have to make it do damage too? Why'd you also have to make it where you cast a bunch of stuff, he gets really big, you make a bunch of mana, and then you ping people, and then also you could smack people in the face for commander damage too if you want? I feel like they didn't think this one through that well. And I think that Agatha Soul Cauldron, obviously a very good card in multiple formats, multi-format staple, but I think this one was just as bad because it didn't need to do all of these things. If it just said, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, you don't have to put a 1/1 counter on it. It doesn't need to grow in power while also making mana for free.
Yeah, it feels itself. This is certainly no Nadu, but it's got some of the same level of hatred, I think, where people just are seeing it too much. Like, I'm so sick of this thing. Get it away. I'm trying to play casual Magic. Get this thing out of here. This one doesn't do it for me. I don't find a ton of salt, but I do think this deck is very, undeniably, this is a really strong deck. One of the better Spell Slinger Commander decks in the format, for sure. And if you leave it unchecked, if you can't kill Vivi, blue has a say in that sometimes with counter spells, then it's like, okay, it's a 6-power thing. Next turn, if they untap with it, you're just going to die.
I mean, I've seen this in the Command Zone. I've seen it in the 99. It's always the best card or one of the best cards in the 99. In the Command Zone, it's crazy just to have that on deck at any point. Vivi is a good Magic card. I feel like if you see it, you should be rocking it in the 3, 4s, or 5s. I feel like it doesn't have a home in 2s or 1s unless you are a Final Fantasy flavor deck.
Yeah, where's the bracket 2 Vivi? I don't know. If
I
you
don't
have a
think
bracket
it's
2 Vivi, share our deck list, but I'm doubting you.
I mean, maybe you're only playing things that are like 4 mana and above,
Tell us in the
non-creature
comments.
spells.
If you take an Ishtola deck and you port it over, and you're like, I have to cast everything that costs 4, sure. Or 3, go for it. But yeah, I think Vivi's like, you're pretty much priced into bracket 3 or up.
Yeah, it's just so strong. Having that so consistently, making all the mana, doing it only during your turn and once each turn doesn't stop it. I feel like the tap would have stopped it. But then, I mean, we've also seen things like Stella Lee decks and stuff where, like, I don't know, man, would the tap have stopped
It's almost
it as
like
much?
see, if this just said tap, maybe they would still put the only once each turn, but they usually don't do that when a creature taps because it's kind of implied. That might be even dumber. Because then you just play every card that's like, oh, give it hexproof, untap it. There's like 7 of those.
Maybe they should instead just put both of them on
Look, maybe this card was just destined to be ridiculous no matter what they put on it, and us Commander players have to deal with it anyway because there's no way it's getting banned.
No,
Definitely
it's not that good.
Make sure you're ready to tackle the VV because it is very annoying. Whether they're monstrous rage combat tricking like that deck tech that we did, or they're just playing deflecting SWAT when you try to kill it, like you're not gonna have the best time. Get ready. Keep your openers. This is one of those commanders that I want to keep an opener that has something to do against it, or else I know I'm gonna get run over.
How low would you mill to find an opener?
I'm just gonna mulligan a little more aggressively. Like if I have a fine 7, but it doesn't have removal, I'll just mulligan in and get a second 7.
Would you go to like 5?
Okay, I'm not gonna just punt the game.
I'm just asking.
I'm not gonna discard my whole hand just to find a snuff out or something. Like I'm gonna make sure that I have a plan, even if it's just ramp into a thing so I can attack them.
That's fair. But number 1, by such a large margin.
Surprising.
The unfunniest April Fool's joke that WotC has ever made. It's Deadpool trading card, 2 red black for a 5/3. As he enters, you can exchange his text box with another creature's. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 3 life, pay 3, sack this creature. Each other player draws a card. This can just steal a commander's text box, and while it's not usually the text box that they want from you because your deck is obviously built around stuff, taking away your text box is what this card wants most.
Yeah, it's a really special way to nullify a commander. It's kind of like a guaranteed, Kenris transformation, but like you have to get rid of the commander and then replay it. That's like the only way, or flicker it or something to get your text box back. It's a pretty salt-inducing thing. Maybe my hot take that has nothing to do with the salt levels is I thought this was pretty funny April Fool's joke as an April Fool's birthday myself. It's like Deadpool is a fourth wall breaking character. It's called a trading card. He literally trades the card's text. Like I think that's pretty funny. But yeah, we played a little bit before this card came out with Exchange of Words, which is the somehow legal Infinity version, which is like the precursor to this. And that card was like very good, like surprisingly
really
annoying.
Good for 3 mana.
I was like irritated every time that you played that. And this is just there's way more problems with this. Because it's a creature, it's your commander, you're going to re-trigger it over and over and over and over and over and just steal everybody's text boxes. But then when Deadpool leaves, you don't get the text box back. It's gone. Sorry, you're still stuck with lose 3 life, and they got a Deadpool and flickered it, and now they get the next best thing.
I'm happy that it doesn't like remove the text box when it comes back. Like you're not getting out of this easily. But
you're happy about that?
I'm happy about that because I think we need more permanence in Commander, because there are just so many ways to remove stuff permanently, and Exchange of Words was a very good card, and I'm happy that they're exploring that design space more. But I feel like for 4 mana and the amount of easy recursion that Rakdos has, and the amount of, it'll die, but it'll come back, that this text box is a little harsh for the amount of ease that it can be just to bring it back. You know what I mean?
He does give you the out of paying 3 to sacrifice it, but
that's a lot.
Each other player draws, and you have to pay 3 mana. That's like half your turn. Like that's pretty brutal. I really don't know if I'm finding the time for that. But then if you don't, you're like slowly getting drained, and that's part of what's like encouraging these players to keep doing. It's like, well, I'm going to drain you out with this. It's like, okay, sure, whatever. You're just trolling right now. Like it gets tagged. I bet if I had to play against this commander like 3 times in a row, it would get so old. I'm already imagining.
I think I was like, I think you were just a little like salty. Well, not salty, but like I think you were just a little defensive because April Fool's is your birthday.
No, I thought it was funny. I didn't think it's still like this card's ridiculous.
It's still salty.
They could have printed anything else on this card. I like the fact that it's a pun and it's an April Fool's, but like, come on, guys, what is this?
I think that it still would have been salt inducing if the mana cost was even lower, but like I think maybe,
Well, yeah.
no, I'm just saying like I just mean like mana wise of like 3 sack this
Oh,
creature.
the buyout,
even
yeah.
if it was like 2 mana or something, I think people would still be very salt induced, or even 1 mana, because you still have to replay your commander from the command zone, and it's still 2 extra mana tacked on. I feel like 3 is a lot, because that is like half your turn, and if not, you lose 3 life. And while you start at 40, you know, I still think that it's going to tick down over time, and it's not like Deadpool's only going to do this once and go, all right, well, I'm done, guys. It's like, no, you're going to keep getting stacks and stacks of these text boxes.
I was surprised by the fact that Deadpool was a winner by a landslide. I knew this card was going to make it. I think this card's very salty, but people were like, screw this card. I think a fair point that people were bringing up, multiple people brought this up, is it actually slows the game down, because people who don't know or haven't played, or when weird scenarios come up, like you're switching text boxes, that's so bizarre. Someone's gonna have to check the rules. It's not against them. It's Deadpool's fault. It's, I guess, Wizards of the Coast, Deadpool's maker's fault. But like, this thing's gonna definitely slow the game down, like Sensei's Divining Top style, where there's just so much happening and people have to double check. And how do you even keep track of where your text box went? Like, what are you supposed to do?
I think when you start messing with other people's cards, there's always something that comes up. You know how many times I've had Rise of the Dark Realms reanimate everyone's graveyard, and then it's like, oh, you actually win on the spot because person A and person C both have a card that combos together, and you accidentally have that. But then you're messing with everyone's text boxes too.
Yeah.
That's just like, I'd have to keep a notebook if I was playing a creature deck based on what everyone's taking and giving.
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, now you have this. Does this trigger? Wait, hold on. Does it keep creature types? Can I flicker it? What is it in the graveyard? Does it have the same stuff? It's like, oh man, rules nightmare. I don't like that aspect of the card. That's maybe my least favorite, because this is Unfinity text, and I don't even know why that other card, Exchange of Words, is black bordered legal.
Yeah, I don't know either. There were only like 4 cards that were black border legal, and of
Probably
course,
more than that,
Of course,
but-
there were like 10. It was like Saw in Half, Mind Goblin.
Clown card. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's Spotlight Spectacular, the one you always forget about.
Overall, community, you did pretty good. Some of these commanders I forgot about, they're definitely deserving. Deadpool, solid winner. Not as salty of a list as last year, which I appreciate. The commanders, I want to be less salty every year, but it's fun to have some villains.
I don't want any more Nadus.
No more Nadus, please. But yes, if you want to watch more Nitpicking Nerds, as you should, there's a video right here, custom made for you.